Alright, welcome back everybody to another episode here at Just Dolan. Last time on Just Dolan, Rena made us slightly irate, so we crushed her fingers in the doorway. And then she apologized. A lot. Now here we are. That's literally what happened last time. To a fucking T. Now here we are. We have 2 tips to go for. 2 tips to read. That's pretty cool. I'm more interested in this one right now. I'm going to start with this one. Let's see. The 7th Mart was a bargain supermarket with food and alcohol. What's this, Keiichi? So many. There's no reason to get all the different kinds, is there? I flopped all the different colored cup noodle bowls in the cart. Cup noodles have gotten so elaborate recently, and there are a bunch of different types. I want to try each of them at least once. I knew it was pretty selfish of me, but I thought I'd at least give it a try. Keiichi. Buy them in the big case. It's much cheaper. Dad faltered. Well, I had a feeling it'd end up like this. Now that Dad had thrown down his hat into the ring, I'd have to compromise. Then I'd only get to eat one kind. I'd get bored with it. I was resisting as a formality. I had already given up inside and wasn't sure which case of noodles to get. If you can't pick, then Mommy will pick for you. You don't have to rush me. I quickly searched the cases of noodles for what I want. Pork bone and ginger large cup? Hey, Keiichi, can't you get a more normal one? If I let Mom pick, she'd err on the side of safety and get soy sauce or salt flavored. Ew. So when I plunked a large box of pork bone flavor in the shopping cart, Mom looked back at me with an expression as if to say, "These ones?" To show her this was my last compromise, I began explaining the choice. Pork bone is good. You get a large serving, but the flavor isn't too strong. I remembered insisting that the noodles I picked were the right kind. In this frozen memory and time, this encapsulated world, I didn't have the power to look around my surroundings. So I did what I could and reached out, with my hearing and vision sharpening my senses to find the presence I overlooked. No matter how much I searched through my field of vision, I couldn't see Rena. I rewound the situation, searching. Of course I couldn't find her. Then, was she spying on me from my blind spot? I go through the sound and presences again, looking. I could sense the other customers. They're all mixed about, moving as they please. There's nobody looking over this way, no one trying to get behind me. Not here. Couldn't be here. Probably wasn't here. I would definitely notice if someone was right behind me, even when I wasn't on my guard. I smiled wryly at the thought of using a vague word like probably right before contradicting it with definitely. Then I paused my mental replay as a chill ran down my spine. There was definitely a presence like a shadow behind me. That was a terror unlike any other. If a presence really had manifested behind me, I would definitely have turned around to check for it. But the world had moved on, and there was no other way for me to turn around. While carrying that frightening shadow on my back, I was gleefully running around the store, searching for a case of noodles. Running through the instant noodle section, bad-mouthing my mom. But there was that presence constantly at my back, sticking to me like a shadow. No way to see what it was. Realizing it now after the fact was horrifying and repulsive. In that moment of time, I was running around gleefully, carrying that cardboard box, tip-tap. But listening to that moment again, I could hear footsteps other than mine going pit-pat with every step. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat, pit-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap, pit-pat, pit-pat. Jesus Christ, how many times am I going to have to read this? While I was running, the sound of those bare footsteps going pit-pat were right behind mine. Me running around gleefully in that closed-off moment in time. But I didn't hear it. No, I heard it. That's why I remembered it. I didn't think I'd heard anything. That's why I didn't turn around. That is why I didn't turn around. In that moment, the pit-pat of those footsteps were following me the entire time. I couldn't run faster and escape. I couldn't run any faster than I had at that time. I couldn't turn around. I hadn't turned around before, not once. Then I returned to my parents and started talking. The shadow-like presence was right at my back. Since I didn't move, the shadow didn't move. That's why it made no sound. That was all. That time I hadn't taken a single step while talking with my parents. I was just standing there. This was undeniable. And yet, I heard it. A pit-pat. That shouldn't be. Keiichi, I think you're just going crazy. Also, we get it. There was no other sound other than that. At that time, the entire world had gone dark, a sudden darkness. It was the end of my reflective journey. I was tired. I wanted to end it. Someone turn on the light, except my body couldn't move. As if I was sewn into that moment in time. Pit-pat. My past self's hair stood on end. That's impossible. Now that's just breaking the rules. I haven't moved. So you shouldn't be moving either. I couldn't move. So you shouldn't be able to move either. Follow the rules. Yet that sound echoed in the darkness once again. The hair on the back of my neck prickled up on the end. It was so close, but it was hard to tell whether it was touching the hair or not. Why couldn't I move? I think he's dreaming. Why couldn't I move, like how the presence was moving behind me? I quickly realized I could move. It's just that I was scared and didn't want to. But now was the only time I could turn around. There's something unforgivable in this moment in time, but I needed to turn around immediately. As if my entire being was trying to force me to stop, it began to administer a pain like a needle being stuck into every pore. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. A scream I was unable to vocalize. I turned around. At first I couldn't understand the meaning of it. What? What is this? Just as a person's mouth might bite into an apple to slurp the juices and finally discover that it was an apple. My mind began to process the scene before my eyes by eating the apple. Munch, munch, chew, chew, slurp the juices and discover the apple, meaning what was in front of me was an apple. Rena. Oyashiro-sama. Oyashiro-sama's curse. I don't know. Probably an apple. Let's be real. That'd be pretty funny. Turns around, all he sees is just a after that dumb analogy, all he sees is just like a produce section. I see it in movies quite often, but what is it exactly? Multiple personalities are thought to be escapism. Multiple personalities disorder is a form of escape? Correct! The exact mechanism is not fully understood, but it's believed to be a type of defense for the brain to retain mental stability. Hypothetically, poor people imagining themselves as wealthy is a form of escapism, is it not? Is this also a form of multiple personality disorder? I wouldn't go that far, but broadly speaking, one could infer that. It's something that occurs in us all. Does a split personality occur when one cannot tell which is reality and which is the escape? That's difficult to say. There are some who agree with that and some who disagree. There is no consensus. Then, is the occurrence of multiple personalities still an unknown phenomenon? Something not fully comprehended in the psychiatric field? Unfortunately, that is the current state of things. We can only put our hope in future research. But, it's sort of cool having a split personality. What kind of people get split personalities? How the fuck is it cool to have a split personality? Recent studies find that those who develop it or rather, those who are more susceptible to developing it may be genetically predisposed or may have had abnormal mental development. Some say that childhood abuse increases the chances. Speaking of which, Person A here experienced abuse as a child, didn't he? How sad. Person A has 7 different personalities. Let's watch a video of him. Right after these commercials. Yeah? Is Keiichi watching TV before bed? Okay then. Alright. Moving on. I'm not even gonna question that. Whatever. I asked my one question. I'm done now. I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't get any sleep. Ooh. Yo. Big mood. I tried to stay awake all night, but there were definitely gaps in my memory. I guess I kept nodding off and jerking awake in a panic all night. Spent all night hugging the metal bat and sat on top of the futon I used to barricade my door. Waiting, watching, just in case someone tried to break through my window. If I left this spot, someone would break through the door, sending the futon flying and attack me. But if I stopped watching the window, someone would break through the glass and attack me. You're on the 2nd floor. I tried telling myself I was just being paranoid, but I couldn't sleep. The thought of being so vulnerable scared the living daylights out of me. If sleep meant taking that risk, I didn't need it. It was so much better just to stay awake. At some point during that endless cycle of nodding off and jolting awake, light began to shine outside. But that was it. It wasn't so much the morning as it was just the sun simply having risen. I snuck a peek through the curtains. Rena was gone. I couldn't see her anywhere, no matter how hard I looked. Finally, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. The night was finally over. Yo, can you imagine if she was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, still? Can you imagine that? That'd be insane. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like sleeping at the moment. Yo, alright, pro tip, Keiichi, because apparently every time I say something, your subconscious tells you the same thing. Pro tip. The trick to staying awake is being super analytical, asking questions about every little thing around you constantly all day long to keep your cognitive functions working properly. True story. A couple weeks ago, didn't sleep for multiple days, went to work for multiple days. Didn't even matter. I was just like, I work as housekeeper, so I was just like, there was TVs on in the residents' rooms and stuff, and I would walk in, I'd be cleaning, and the TV would be on, and there'd be stuff happening, and I would question everything possible that would ever appear on the screen. If the residents were in the room, I would talk to them as much as I could to keep myself awake. By the time I got home on the final day, when I actually did finally have time to go to sleep, I was wide awake. I sat up and I had a conversation with my mom for like 2.5 hours before going to bed, because it fucking works. It fucking works. It doesn't matter how long you stay up, dude. I guess it does. Nobody try this at home unless they are in dire need of a way to stay awake because they can't not. Nobody get overtired and hurt because of me. But it does work, though. Anyway, I'm just gonna move on. Fuck it. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like sleeping at the moment. I still had time. But I needed to make my own breakfast, so I'd better get started soon. Skipping school is also an option. Did you eat dinner last night? With my mom gone, it'd be easy to play hooky. I don't even know. He never said. Honestly, I debated it. The risk involved in leaving my house was incalculable, so staying holed up in here was probably my safest option. But staying in here wouldn't solve anything. Oishi-san wouldn't help me without cold, hard evidence. Neither he nor my parents. So, unless I found some sort of proof, these relentless nights would never end. I stretched my body, tilted my head back, and closed my eyes just like I did every morning. I regulated my breathing and regained my senses. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. Let's go to school. Let's wait until they set their trap for me. But that didn't mean I was just going to twiddle my thumbs. I needed to avoid that trap and secure irrefutable evidence. Take note of the plates of any car that drives by. If I see someone suspicious, check their clothes and face. I wasn't just protecting myself, I was preparing myself to turn their attack against them and retaliate. The tension was similar to when two samurai were both aiming to slay each other with a single motion as they drew their katanas. I was not at a disadvantage. I would have a chance to retaliate. I finally felt a bit of courage growing in my chest. Alright, let's go to school. I tightened my grip on Satoshi's bat. He was the only partner I could count on. Aibo. Satoshi, please lend me your strength, and entrust your dying regrets to me since you were probably murdered. I'll make sure I dispel them. With renewed resolve, I checked the clock. It was still early. Of course, I was going to school by myself today. If I didn't want to run into Rena or Mion, I needed to leave now. The shattered fragments of the cupboard were still strewn all over the entryway. Right. I meant to clean that up last night, but never got around to it with the phone call and everything. If my parents came back and saw this while I was at school, I would never hear the end of it. Still, I'd be wasting time if I cleaned it up right now. Considering what would happen if I ran into one of them, it'd be too late to clean it up after I got back home. Or it wouldn't be too late to clean it up after I got back home. Making extra certain that the doors were locked, I left the house. Yeah, he also rearranged the living room and strewn trash all over the floor. My uniform was still covered in mud from yesterday, so I left it in the washer. Today I was going to school in a tracksuit. By wearing a different outfit this morning, my mind was forced to accept that today was different from yesterday. I had a hunch. Today might be the day I get killed. Keep your guard up, Keiichi Maebara. The only one who gets to decide if today is my last is me. Yeah. Damn right. Ya damn right. Oh, okay. It's like, where's the text? It's just flashing through scenes, though. Gotcha. Practicing our swings. I spent the morning practicing my swing like it was in my natural routine. After a while, Rena arrived at the school. Our eyes met, but we said nothing. Rena said nothing about last night, as if it never happened. But I could see that those events were real by the wounds carved into her fingers. I just heard her telling Satoko and the others that the bandages were from hurting herself in the kitchen. Though it wasn't like it bothered me. The details that Oishi-san shared about Rena's incident before her transfer played vividly in my mind. Now that I knew about it, I couldn't dream of Rena as a cute, ideal girl. Even though she totally is. Kei-chan, I see you're still aiming for the Nationals. It was Mion. I had already sensed her approach, so I wasn't that surprised. Oh, Mion. If you understand, then leave me alone. I'm busy practicing. I gave her a curt reply without my usual jokes. Then I gave the bat an even larger swing, tactically keeping Mion from getting any closer. Hey, Kei-chan, take it easy! I think Mion got the message, but she still urged me to give it a rest. Homeroom's not that far off, is it? Just let me finish practicing. I swung the bat even harder as a sign of my refusal. Kei-chan, when did you get into baseball? Just recently. Recently? You mean yesterday? Don't ask if you already know. Oh dear. That's a very unsportsmanlike reply. You're distracting me. Go away. I ignored Mion and kept swinging. Normally she'd get mad or bored and leave if someone gave her the cold shoulder like this. Mion just stood there waiting patiently for me to stop swinging. I didn't sense any hostility, but we were at school in plain view. I thought she'd suddenly attack me here. Or was that too naive? Still, I was starting to get tired. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to take a break and hear her out. You need me for something, right? What is it? Sweat poured from me as I stopped swinging. I noticed my shoulders were heaving as I breathed. I cursed my lack of exercise. At this rate, I might not be able to move as needed when the time came. I should probably keep practicing my swings to build stamina in addition to the excuse for carrying on the bat with me. Well, it's nothing important. If you're tired, I can ask again later. Now is fine. I'm only dealing with you right now because I judged the situation to be safe. Talking to you alone and away from others, that's out of the question. Well, wait, did he say that out loud? No, okay, good. As her face, the way it changed, I was like, wait a minute. Man was uncharacteristically trying to choose her words. But unlike Oishi-san, it didn't look like she was going to talk about something I'd rather not hear. Mion was puzzled, trying to find the right thing to say. But then she gave a hearty laugh to break herself out of that mire. This old man's just no good at this stuff. Having a poor vocabulary hurts. What's this all of a sudden? If you have something to say, just say it. Stop it. Stop that swinging. She cut straight to the point. Her request was so frank I didn't understand it for a moment. I had already stopped swinging to listen to her, hadn't I? I just stopped, didn't I? That's not what I meant. I want today to be the last day you swing that bat. I'm sorry. It took me some time to understand what she was asking for. What's wrong with swinging a bat? Why? It's none of your business, is it? I'm not bothering anyone, am I? You are. Mion said it flat out. I mean, you're swinging the bat of Satoko's older brother who died, Keiichi. Who do you think? What the fuck, Keiichi? Like, come on, dude. This didn't make any sense, and that was really irritating. When did I bother anybody? Mion was at a loss for words, but she finally made up her mind and just spoke. Though she stuttered as she said it. But because, Kei-chan, that's someone else's bat. You shouldn't borrow it without permission. It was left behind by a student who transferred, right? I'm just borrowing it until he comes back for it. Yeah, he transferred. Mion grew uncharacteristically flustered. It made it all too clear his transfer was a lie. It's strange, isn't it? For the older brother to transfer by himself, while his little sister stayed behind. Mion couldn't hide her reaction as my words shook her up. Kei-chan, you knew? Satoshi Hojo, Satoko's older brother, right? The one demoned away last year? Unable to respond to that, Mion fell silent. Rena asked the same thing. Why did you start swinging that bat? She told me Satoshi did the same thing, practicing his swings right before he went missing. So? Is this some kind of omen for Oyashiro-sama's curse? Shh! Mion panicked and looked around. Please, Kei-chan, don't mention Oyashiro-sama so recklessly. I don't believe in him, but the others very much do. Rena especially. Isn't it, like, part of the curse, or thought to be part of the curse, that you'd be spirited away for not believing in the curse? Is that something that would throw suspicion off of Mion? Like, I don't know. It's really hard to tell, because Keiichi's clearly actually going insane. Like, he's actually mentally ill right now, I could tell. Like, oh, well. Dangerously so. Anyway, you're scaring everyone. If you're just fooling around, then stop it. You have to stop acting like Satoshi. I was the one who was scared. Who do I have to thank for taking up this bat in the first place? But still unsettled me knowing that my actions were overlapping Satoshi's. It would be one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decisions. I'll say this now. I don't know anything about Satoshi. After all, you didn't tell me anything about him. Well, we didn't mean to hide it. You were hiding the incidents that happen every year, weren't you? That's because we didn't want to, You didn't want to scare me? That's your reason for leaving me out? No, we didn't mean to. Mion, I asked you directly if something happened at the dam, didn't I? And you told me nothing happened. When someone was dismembered and murdered, you lied to me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you. Friends don't hide things from each other, right? Isn't that right? Then you all aren't my friends. Kei-chan, Mion looked helpless and flustered. Was I imagining the tears in her eyes? I never could have imagined Mion acting like this. Oh, by the way, those get well mochi you brought the other day, they were good. I thought I was going to bleed. Who did it? You? Or Rena? Me. She admitted it so easily. I couldn't help but be surprised at how easy that was. You could have killed me. How could you do that to a friend? But it was just a little prank. Mion gave me a wry smile mixed with confusion, causing even more anger to well up inside me. You think that was a prank? I grabbed Mion by the collar and lifted her up. That wasn't the same as putting Tabasco sauce in a piece of mochi. It was a fucking sewing needle. If I'd swallowed that and lodged it in my throat, what did she think would happen? Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. This wasn't the Mion Sonozaki I knew anymore. Anyways, you're not my friend. There's no reason for me to listen to someone who's not my friend, so just leave me alone for a while. Got it? Mion wasn't replying anymore. It won't be that easy to erase me, you know. The cops have been onto you from the start, so don't think you can make me disappear like you did with Satoshi. I said it clearly. This is my declaration of war. I think you guys are suspects in the previous incidents, too. I also know you've spent a lot of time with the cops ever since the anti-dam movement. Don't think you can hide it from me. You got that? How did you know? I know everything. I was right behind you the whole time. Mion stood there with a dumbstruck look on her face. That was when I heard the principal ringing the bell for school. It was time for morning homeroom. Let's go. Class representative needs to be there, right? At that moment, for the first time, I realized Mion was sobbing as tears ran down her cheeks. You're so mean, Kei-chan. I wanted to console her, but I shut my mouth. I had no need to feel guilty. I'm going. Don't be late to homeroom. I left Mion still shaking as I turned around to head for the entrance. I mean... You put a needle in his food. If someone put a needle in my food, I would probably do the same thing. Maybe not so aggressively, and maybe I wouldn't go actually clinically insane, but... I would totally disown them, I think. I'd be like, alright, bye, never mind. Not talking to you again. I had no idea how troubling it was to make a girl cry. Behind my back, I could hear her muttering. It was a faint mutter as she was speaking to herself. So that's how it is. Huh? She wasn't saying it to anyone. It was Mion talking to herself. It was a sobbing voice that had a kind of giddy, coursing tone. I inadvertently stopped and turned back towards her. So it was that bastard. He linked it all to Kei-chan. She balled up her fists and her tears continued to rain down. She glared at a spot on the ground with a terrifying yet smiling face, cursing. A chill ran down my spine from that demonic expression. This transformation, Mion's transformation, was a lot different from Rena's. I should have killed him back then. He forgot the mercy I showed just because he was going to retire this year. Retiring this year? But she's still talking about Oishi-san? Damn it. I'm going to kill that damn old man. Ugh. Felt like the air itself had begun distorting. Mion at the center, the world had begun to twist and spiral, bending, whirling. This was the first time I'd experienced such a visage. Rise! Attention! Mion made up an excuse for her red eyes by saying there was something wrong with her contacts. After that, neither Rena nor Mion spoke to me for the rest of the day. I'm not entirely sure if she actually wears contacts. Is that true? It's interesting. I wonder what she would look like with glasses on. Neither Satoko nor Rika-chan looked me in the eye. Strangely, I didn't feel hurt. Everything had just went back to the way it was. The month since I transferred in had been almost too much fun. That was all. School was supposed to be something like this to begin with. I should have disliked that feeling, but today it felt oddly refreshing. The bell rung, sounding the end of the monotonous school day, which had felt so tense yet so dull. Since it would cause a lot of unpleasant memories if they asked me to join into the club activities, I promptly started preparing to go home without even looking at them. I stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag, wrapped my hand around Satoshi's now familiar bat, and began heading towards the entrance. I was assailed by both the exhausting relief that nothing had happened today and the tiring possibility of the same thing repeating tomorrow. But deep down inside me, far beneath in the recesses of my heart, achingly, I knew this would be the last day of this cycle. I couldn't tell how the ending would be. Whether it would end as I wished it to end, or if it would end as I hoped it wouldn't. Regardless, in my current state, there was something more important than how things would end. There was something I wanted to know. Why did I have to be killed? How did it come to this? Why? For what purpose? The sunlight was relentless. The sun, the heat, even the air. They wouldn't give me my answers. Or could it be that the cries of the Higurashi were desperately trying to tell me something? Somewhere mixed in with their shrieks, Tomitake-san and Satoshi were also probably trying to tell me something. I simply haven't been able to realize it yet. When I do realize it, I wonder if I will be amongst the Higurashi fruitlessly crying for the next victim. Glancing down at my feet, I saw Higurashi on its back, spasming weakly. Bui, bui, bui. Bui, 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 bui. There was still much of the summer left, yet this one was already chirping its last song. I couldn't tell what it was saying, no matter how hard I listened, but I had to try. Did you? I had to try to listen to what it was desperately trying to tell me. At that moment, the shrills of the Higurashi ceased all at once. As if they had huddled together, fearing that the person who'd brought them to their dreadful fate had arrived. There was no mistaking it. A presence was approaching. The sound of footsteps was almost non-existent. If the Higurashi hadn't warned me by ending their chirping, I wouldn't have noticed. My exhaustion left me in a heartbeat. In its place was a rush of adrenaline that sharpened all of my senses. I was just barely able to hold back that creeping, suffocating feeling of horror. It wasn't something I could hold back for long. But in this moment, when I needed to be razor sharp, I was able to retain my composure. I wasn't going to shout like I did yesterday. I hid myself calmly amongst the trees, waiting for my pursuer's shadow. Could I get them to pass by me? No. Since I was able to hear their footsteps, they were probably also able to hear mine. They might have already been able to tell where I'd hidden myself and was holding my breath. The person tailing me, was it Rena just like yesterday? If it was Rena, I wouldn't hold back. I could just yell at her and make her go ahead like yesterday. And if it wasn't Rena, it would depend on how they acted, I guess. The footsteps ampled closer. I swallowed up my clammy hands on my pants and readjusted the grip on the bat. I could tell that the fear that I had beaten back once was now waiting for another opening to come at me. Who could it be? I peeked out from behind the tree at that person following me. My imagination hadn't led me astray. It was Rena. There was a bit of relief as I realized it was someone I knew, but that feeling left me in an instant. This wasn't the same Rena that I knew. Her eyes were dark and lifeless. Those don't look dark and lifeless to me. But her mouth appeared as if it was carved into a crescent. Yes, it looked like she was grinning slightly. And in her right hand was a hatchet. I I hid myself behind the tree once again and recalled the unbelievable sight I just saw. What was that just now? The embodiment of terror laid bare. Baseball, practicing my swing, there were tons of excuses for me to be carrying a bat. But for that hatchet? There's no excuse for that. A hatchet just like that? Keiichi-kun, are you playing hide and seek, I wonder? My heart was pounding, hard enough that I had trouble breathing. The little composure I had been able to hold on to was now crushed. In its place, cold sweat gushed forth, covering my entire body, letting me know precisely what kind of emotion had taken hold. Not good. I wasn't able to hide myself completely. She already knew I was here. Were you trying to scare me, I wonder? I decided that it would be better to reveal myself now, since there was still space between us, than to allow her to come any closer. I adjusted my grip on the bat again, readied myself mentally, and stepped out from behind the tree. I found you, Keiichi-kun. Rena was pleased that she found me, eliciting a mysterious giggle. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me she was displeased by the fact that I had been hiding. Those eyes, they were just so empty. Yeah, they are now. Not in the last image. Last image, she just looked like she was really happy to be carrying a hatchet. My legs began to quiver. Oh, not good. In the pit of my stomach, some sort of viscous hot and cold substance began spreading around. If I allowed it, that substance would slip into my bloodstream and undoubtedly freeze all the organs of my body. Not good. I'll be devoured by Rena at this rate. Strike back. Don't lose. What is it? I blustered, hiding behind my bravado. Rena didn't flinch one bit. Just the same as Keiichi-kun. I'm heading home. Then what about that hatchet? And what about that bat you're holding? I'm practicing my swing. And I'm treasure hunting. Rena gave a flippant explanation as to why she had such a fearsome weapon. Treasure hunting? At the treasure mounted near the dam site, I found a new cute thing. So I needed this to dig it out. How could I believe that? You wouldn't believe it, would you? Rena's laugh was obviously very strange. I'd seen Rena's transformation many times before, but the one today was completely different. Like her mischievous tone and shrewd glint in her eyes. It wasn't something that roundabout. I'm not sure what to say, it was just so obvious. Wait, Keiichi-kun. Rena didn't stop walking, even as she let out that eerie laugh. Whenever Rena got too close to me, I would scurry away and turn back towards her. The cycle repeated over and over. No matter how you looked at it, I was being chased by her and was trying to escape. Don't follow me! I can't do that. My house is this way, after all. When I met with Rena on this road yesterday, she cowered and trembled as she followed my commands. But today was different. Rena didn't show a hint of trepidation. Actually, wasn't I the one who was cowering? If the way home for Rena and me was the same, that's fine. I just changed my route. That'd work out, wouldn't it? I turned onto a side street I'd never been down and knew little about. Rena saw me do that and followed me while laughing. Why? Why? Aren't you going home? Then just go home down the street you normally do. Why? Why would you follow me down this weird little side road? Those thoughts screamed in my head, eventually spilling out of my mouth. Why are you following me? The tone of my voice was already tinged with terror. Because I want to talk to Keiichi-kun. Keiichi-kun wants to talk to Rena too, doesn't he? I don't want to talk about anything with you. That's a lie, isn't it? There's something you want to ask me about, isn't there? Not at all. I have nothing to talk to you about. And that's a lie, isn't it? It's not a lie! Rena's scream echoed, startling some nearby birds into a flight. I cringed in fear. The only other thing I could do was increase my pace. Let's talk, Keiichi-kun. Talk. Why was I running down this unfamiliar and deserted street? Doesn't Keiichi-kun have something he's worried about? Nothing at all. I'm not worried about anything. Lies! Even though I was running, even though Rena was walking, why wasn't I getting any farther away? I know. I really do know. You're scared, aren't you, Keiichi-kun? I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything. Lies! My breathing grew heavy and it felt like my legs were giving out from beneath me. Rena wasn't even breaking a sweat. I'll listen. This time I'll listen. I had no idea what she was talking about or what exactly she wanted to do. This time I'll listen. It'll be different from the time with Satoshi-kun. When she said Satoshi's name, I turned back for a moment. But even as I did that, she was still advancing. Couldn't afford to stop. Satoshi-kun was worried too. It looked like he was having such a hard time. But I didn't listen. It was so sad. Where did the street connect to? All these twists and turns, ups and downs. It was hard to believe that this was even remotely in the direction towards my house. My sense of direction had long since gone out the window. I really regretted it when Satoshi-kun transferred out. I thought that if I had listened, he may not have transferred out. I really regretted that. The road led me deeper into the forest. Wasn't I getting farther away from the village the more I ran? I lost more and more of my composure the more I thought about it. But despite this realization, my inner self was still disturbingly calm. So you see, I vowed. I vowed that if there was someone struggling like Satoshi-kun did, I'd save them. I don't want to see anyone transfer out again. Damn it! What does transfer even fucking mean? I won't let you transfer me. I won't end up the same as Satoshi. Come on, Keiichi-kun, talk to me. I'll be able to understand you, Keiichi-kun. I'm your ally. I started wheezing, out of breath. My lungs were so hot that they felt like they were going to explode, and my heart was beating as fast as it possibly could. I should have practiced running instead of my swing. I couldn't even afford to scoff at that stupid thought. If Keiichi-kun doesn't have anything to worry about, he'll go back to normal. Everyone will be back to being friends and we can enjoy club activities again. Next time we'll team up with and beat Michan. Yeah, how much fun that would be. Rena couldn't even imagine how much I had wished I could turn back the clock on these past few days. You could be nice to me again, too. I want to go searching for treasure again. This time I'll prepare a nice lunch. Actually, we could go just right now. We could just go right now. Let's go up to the dam site together. I'll show you the cute thing I just found. I'm sure you'll like it too. My footsteps made pathetic flapping sounds as my legs wobbled and faltered. Hot on my heels, Rena's steps were sharply breaking twigs underfoot. I had to accept it. I was on the run, being chased by Rena. She caught me, it was all over. I realized it instinctively. I couldn't even begin to think of what the end would entail. Just that if I was caught, it was all over. That's all I knew. It didn't matter how it was going to end. I wouldn't let it end. Not without knowing anything. Not yet. That momentary lapse was all it took. Of all the things that could have happened, my knees buckled underneath me and I crumbled towards the ground. I tried to stand frantically, urging my legs to respond. I used my bat as a makeshift cane to prop myself up, but Rena was already standing right in front of me. Compared to me, out of breath and utterly exhausted, Rena was cool and composed, that she could have froze the air around her. So cool and composed that she could have froze the air around her. She wasn't breathing hard at all. Rather, I couldn't even sense if her heart was beating. Are you afraid of something, I wonder? It's not like you to tremble, Keiichi-kun. Her expression looked almost affectionate. Those soulless eyes, that mask of affection. As she admonished me for trembling, Rena's hands deftly slipped over her head. The blur of arms as they moved made me feel as if I was staring at the godliness of a thousand-armed Buddha. Of the thousand-armed Buddha. Then, as both of her hands met above her head, the hatchet that she held came into focus. I stared up at it in disbelief. It was all I could do. Tell me, what happened to Satoshi? Rena stayed like that, with that hatchet raised above her head, and solemnly opened her mouth. It was as if she was expressing a farewell to a friend she was never to see again. That cruel scenario resided somewhere in her actions. I told you. Satoshi-kun transferred out. Enough of that transfer shit! It means demoned away, doesn't it? Doesn't it? You can tell me now, can't you? Who made Satoshi disappear? Was it you? Mion? Or someone in the village? Answer me! I became frantic the more I screamed, but Rena did nothing but maintain the smile frozen on her face. I have no idea what Keiichi-kun is talking about. Then I'll say it in a way so you do. Who's the perpetrator of this chain of mysterious deaths? You seem to be confused, Keiichi-kun. What? There is no human perpetrator. Everything is by Oyashiro-sama's will. Isn't his curse just superstition? You believe in it too? It's not about believing or not. Oyashiro-sama exists. Period. Rena's gaze grew even more gelid. The ferocity of her stare was so intense, not allowing me to question anything. There's just no way that something like Oyashiro-sama could exist. You don't believe in Oyashiro-sama? There's no way I could believe it. There's no way it could exist. It exists. Oyashiro-sama exists. Keiichi-kun should have felt it personally. I never felt something like that. Keiichi-kun, haven't you felt someone apologizing to you before? Constantly on top of that? Yeah, you. All the noise from the outside world disappeared. Only Rena's voice resounded loudly and terribly. You see, until you forgive them, they'll always be with you. At school, at home, at your bedside. I couldn't understand what Rena was saying. It came to me, too. Oyashiro-sama did. That's why I transferred and came back to Hinamizawa. I don't understand. What does transfer even mean? What was she saying? Hasn't Oyashiro-sama come to you as well, Keiichi-kun? I'm probably the only one who you can confide in. I won't let you transfer out, okay? Rena's demented laughter clanged around inside my head. Was she saying that he came to her as well? That's right. Last night I had heard about it when I asked her... When I asked about Rena... Damn it, I can't read today. Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it may be true. Are you still interested? Neither the victims nor the school filed a complaint, so there's no preliminary report. Basically, the police had intervened in this matter. So all these details are just what I heard from those involved, meaning it's not that credible. He said there were victims. Didn't Rena just break all the windows? No, Rena Ryugu had attacked 3 boys, using a metal bat. 2 of them made it out with only bruises, but the other had been injured so badly that one of his eyes was permanently damaged. Wouldn't that be considered assault? Shouldn't the police have arrested her? For whatever reason, the victim never pressed any charges. There was no report to the police, so... They were beaten with a bat and suffered significant injuries. Normally, there would be a criminal investigation. But why? Didn't they press charges? I tried asking the 3 male victims for their side of the story, but they were all reluctant. It's hard to say, but they were all afraid. Even after she had transferred schools. Oishi-san, could you summarize it starting from the beginning? Rena hit people while she broke the windows. Or was it, she started breaking the windows after she got bored of hitting people? They sounded similar, but the meanings were drastically different. On an undisclosed date, Rena Ryugi was conversing with 3 male students, close friends of hers, near the pool storage shed. Who were those 3? I can't reveal their names, but they were close to her, and it seems they were a group of friends. She was the lone girl in their group. So it wasn't that strange for the 4 of them to be together. So what happened? I don't know the reason why. She took the baseball team's bat, was in the pool storage shed, and beat the 3 of them down one after the other. What? There were no witnesses. This was an account pieced together by information given at the time of the incident. One day after school, Ren and 3 male students were at the pool storage shed talking together. They weren't seeking help, rather they usually met up there. It appears it became a heated discussion. At that time, Rena underwent a change. The change was so abrupt that the 3 of them didn't comprehend what was happening. Then, taking the metal bat, she attacked her friends one after the other. Leaving her friends covered in blood with gashes on their heads, she made her way towards the school building and broke all the windows. She broke the glass windows one after the other. A few minutes later, a teacher appeared on the scene and subdued her. What was this change Rena underwent? What matches up in the statements from the 3 was a sudden change. The point that there was a transformation. Transformation? I also could recall the transformation. I'd seen it many times before. It was so different from the usual Rena. But I couldn't help but believe it was someone else who looked like her. The transformation they were talking about, had it happened before? No, there was nothing like that. As far as I could find out in her medical history and past, there was nothing like that. Does that happen often where people change suddenly like she did? Of course it does. There are plenty of psychological phenomena that could cause something like that. Then you're saying there was a dormant element in Rena that caused that transformation? I cannot say for certain, but according to the statements of her friends, it's hard to believe she had such a side to her. Kind, caring, and adorable, even before she transferred here. She was probably pretty popular in school like she was now. That girl transforming suddenly and insulting them with a bat. Who could imagine such a thing? Nobody could have seen it coming. I myself sometimes believe that I was mistaken for thinking that was Rena, even now. Then, what happened after that? I guess we're gonna have to find that out next time, because we're going on 50 fucking minutes. We're like at the 2 episode point right now. This could have been 2 episodes. There's no good cutoff point. So I'm just abruptly halting it here. We're not going on a tangent. We're gonna end it here. We're gonna end it here. So, on that note, sorry for the abrupt ending. Although I guess you guys should have known it was coming, all things considered, since there's a timer. Honestly, like, I couldn't find a better cutoff point than this. This just led me into the next time fucking thing that we always do on FourPlay. Anyway, I guess it's just over now. Next time we're gonna, I don't know, probably run from Rena or die. We'll see. We'll see. I'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of your night. And if you've been watching these live when they come out, the next episode will probably be out at the same time tomorrow. Just look forward to that. I'll see you guys soon. Love ya. Mwah. Catch you later.